If your transit agency operates a demand-responsive system using any non-accessible vehicles, there's a specific Federal Transit Administration finding waiting during your next review. Filing your annual certificate of equivalent service isn't enough on its own. Sending that certificate to the FTA without maintaining documented monitoring procedures is exactly like signing a tax return while keeping a completely blank folder where your receipt should be. The signature is fine. The lack of supporting evidence is the violation. In this video, we are going to build a complete review-ready ADA equivalency monitoring process from scratch, and I'll give you the exact worksheet you need to execute it, because surviving a triennial review requires you to actively prove your service is equal across the board, rather than just checking a box. Before we build the process, gather your raw materials. You will need your agency's current vehicle inventory system, recent scheduling records, and your service area fare maps. Step 1 is identifying exactly who needs to be monitored. Cross-reference your vehicle inventory to flag any subrecipient that operates non-accessible vehicles in a demand-responsive setting. Once you have your targets, Step 2 is conducting an annual desktop review. To do this, you pull at least 1 month of representative sample data from their scheduling software. You take that sample data and run a side-by-side comparison of the trips provided to ADA riders against the trips provided to the general public. Most agencies skip this structured data comparison completely. That exact missing step is what triggers the compliance finding. That data comparison must cover 7 specific factors outlined in federal regulations. Factor 1 is response time. You compare your average reservation to pickup times, ensuring ADA riders secure a trip just as quickly as a general public rider. Factor 2 is fares. You compare your fare schedules dollar for dollar. A comparable trip must cost the exact same amount for both riders. Factor 3 requires matching the geographic area of service. You verify your maps to ensure accessible vehicles cover the exact same territory as non-accessible ones. Factor 4 is hours and days of service. You match your published schedules to confirm accessible service operates during the identical calendar blocks as general service. Factor 5 is where agencies often fail: restrictions on trip purpose. You cannot limit ADA riders to medical-only appointments if the general public has the freedom to book a ride for shopping or commuting. Factor 6 covers information and reservations. Booking methods, whether by phone, web, or TTY, must be equally available and provided in accessible formats. Factor 7 is the other major failure point: capacity constraints. You cannot apply trip count limits or waiting lists to individuals with disabilities if those same limits do not exist for the general public. You document all 7 of these factors, side by side, using a standardized equivalency monitoring worksheet. If the data reveals a gap in even one of those 7 categories, the entire system fails the equivalency test, and the certification becomes invalid. With the desktop data confirmed, Step 3 brings us back to the paperwork. Verify that all 4 mandatory civil rights and ADA certifications for that subrecipient are on file and currently unexpired. Step 4 takes this out into the field during your biennial on-site reviews. Observe their dispatch operations and physically inspect the accessible vehicles to verify the wheelchair lifts cycle properly before entering service. Step 5 is finalizing your decision. Based on the data and field checks, you assign the agency one of 3 statuses: equivalent, conditionally equivalent for minor correctable issues, or not equivalent. Step 6 enforces this whole system by tying your monitoring status directly to your vehicle procurement process. Before any subrecipient can purchase a new non-accessible vehicle, you check their final status. If they are marked not equivalent, the request is denied. They must procure an accessible vehicle instead. Creating a hard stop at the procurement stage is the ultimate failsafe. It prevents a non-compliant agency from compounding their errors year after year. By consistently running those 6 steps, you generate the exact documented proof the FTA looks for to pass this section of your triennial review. To make this seamless, head over to solutionsbyvance.com/ADA equivalency to get a free copy of the exact equivalency monitoring worksheet that maps out all 7 comparison columns. Next week, we are breaking down all 13 distinct phases of the complete FTA procurement process. Subscribe to the newsletter before you go, and ensure your transit agency never walks blindly into a compliance finding again.